Alright guys, so Invincible Season 3 has finally wrapped up, so the first bit of this video is just going to be a spoiler-free discussion about the season overall, and then after that I will get into a more spoilery discussion about the final episode as a whole. So, what did I think of Invincible Season 3? I think that it is... This is kind of the way that I'm kind of feeling about it. It's if Dragon Ball Z was good. Now, what do I mean by this? The reality is that Invincible is never going to be able to recapture the magic of the first season, right? Like that twist in the first episode, they're never going to be able to get that back. The total just complete surprise and just the surprise at the brutality of the final episode. Like, that's never gonna happen again, right? Like, it's impossible. And then now that we're in this whole era of the Viltrumite War, like they're prepping for it, it does, and Mark is just as powerful as he is. It kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball Z in the sense that Goku is so powerful that it's like all the other side characters are low-key useless. And whereas I feel like Dragon Ball Z was never able to really tell like a genuinely interesting story with that, and the fact that I feel like they kind of just pushed all of their side characters to the side, and they just like, what the fuck is Krillin doing? You know, when they're fighting Majin Buu, you know what I mean? Invincible is able to kind of like take that premise, I feel like. Although obviously they're essentially like extending the Saiyan saga for like the entire series. Like that's what the show is, right? They're able to kind of take this concept of like, we have this incredibly powerful main character. All of his side characters are not really all that powerful. But we're just going to still tell interesting stories with them, right? Like Rexplode is not nearly as powerful as Invincible. He's still arguably the best character of the season. Robot and Monster Girl, not powerful characters, still arguably still very interesting characters. And so that's what I kind of realized when I watched season 3. I was like, I very much fell off of Dragon Ball. Like, I like the initial Dragon Ball show when he was a kid. I've never really liked anything past that. This is very much like if Dragon Ball Z was good. I don't know, that might be a hot take that might upset some people, but it is the truth, objectively speaking. And yeah, this season is also, in some ways, I think you could probably criticize it for not progressing the plot enough, right? Like, we don't necessarily, like, we're still kind of where we're at in season 2, where it's like, all right, the Viltrumites are out there. They're coming at some point. What are we gonna do? And that's still kind of where we're at, although I will say they do drop a couple pieces of information that completely changes how we view that. But yeah, at the end of the day, though, the strength of Invincible is in the fact that most of the characters are incredibly compelling. Like, Mark's arc that he goes through in this season is very interesting. The way his philosophy changes is very interesting. The way his relationship with Cecil progresses is very interesting. His relationships with his friends, with Adam Eve, like, all of that is very interesting. And so it kind of makes me go, yeah, are they kind of like slacking when it comes to just actually progressing the overall plot of the Viltrumites are out there? What are we going to do? There's going to be a war with them. It's like, yeah, they are kind of slacking in progressing that, but I don't mind as much because the stories that they're telling with these characters are still very compelling. And yeah, you know, all the stuff that Invincible is good at, right, when it comes to gore and action, yada, 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 that's all there. It's all very enjoyable. But like I said, they're just never going to have the shock of season 1's gore in that final episode. Don't get me wrong. They still have some moments that are like, Jesus. Like, there's like the way that the final episode is executed, it definitely makes me go like, they are still very much finding ways of making you disturbed. I'll just say that. Main complaint that I will give, and it is the complaint that I give every season, and I will continue to give it until they do something about it. Jeffrey Bezos, you have literal billions of dollars to spare. Give Invincible a bigger animation budget. It's still very upsetting that the animation is as shitty as it is. It's just like, don't get me wrong, everything around it is very well done, and it does enhance it to the point that it doesn't necessarily affect my enjoyment as much as it maybe should, right? Because sound design, the actual choreography of everything that's happening is top notch. The voice acting is great. Like, everything around it is really great and top tier, but it's just really unfortunate that they can't get smoother animation. It's really unfortunate that the shading can't be more dynamic. But yeah, they could do it. Amazon just chooses not to because they want to be cheap. All right, so those are my thoughts on season 3. Very much recommend it. If you've never seen the show for whatever reason and you're watching this video, then obviously, yeah, check out Invincible. It's great. If you still haven't caught up with season 3, it's still great. I still recommend watching it. I think that the character stuff is very strong, even if the overall plot is kind of standing still in some ways. All right, let's get into episode 8. Conquest. He's here. They fought, and it was a really good fight. In a lot of ways, it is a mirror to the season 1 finale, where Mark is fighting a Viltrumite, obviously, that's trying to take over Earth. That being said, and in some ways that might be repetitive, but I do think it highlights Mark's arc throughout these first 3 seasons, where it's like, in that first season, he's just like desperately trying to plead with his father, trying to convince him, trying to change his mind. And now we get to this point in this season, and Mark is not that same kid, man. He is like, he gets to the point where he realizes that he has to kill this guy. He has to kill. Like, there are people out there that you can't save. This guy that's been brainwashed. It's like, I can't save him. There's no saving him. He is going to kill me. He is going to kill my girlfriend. He's going to kill my brother. He's going to kill my mom. He's going to kill everybody. Right? So yeah, it was really, in some ways, somebody might call it a repetitive finale, but I think when it comes to the characterization and showing the arc of Mark, totally worthwhile, in my opinion. Very interesting that Cecil is using the Mark variants. I don't know if they call them variants in this universe, but I'm using MCU terminology. He's turning him into the robots, which honestly makes sense. I didn't remember that they did this from the comics. Because, yeah, I have read the comics, but it's been literal years, and there's just, like, we're at a point now where it's, like, I don't remember everything that's going to happen. So, it's a very interesting concept. I really liked, also, Adam Eve. I really liked the scene where the doctors were, like, pleading with her, and she was, like, the doctor was, like, you can't even walk yet. And she was, like, bitch, do I look like I need to walk? Oliver, you gotta respect his gumption. You know what I mean? The kid's got us. I like his moxie. He's very like, even after getting Oliver twisted. By the way, when I mentioned that there were like moments that are gonna leave you horrified, that was definitely one of them. Seeing like him get punched so hard that his teeth got knocked out, and then like seeing like a child's face in agony as he's being like ripped in half, like, that was crazy. But it's like, even after all of that, Oliver has not lost any of his enthusiasm to be a superhero, which is admirable, I guess, in some ways. Yeah, I also didn't remember that Eve almost dying and then getting plot armor. I didn't remember that this happened during the Conquest fight. I thought that we didn't see this happen until, like, I guess I won't spoil any. I want to try not to potentially spoil future things, but I thought that this didn't happen until, like, much later in the story. But yeah, no, this is one of Eve's abilities. Like, if she gets near to death, she just like momentarily gets god powers where she's able to fix herself by changing the atoms of herself. Also, she's able to shoot out a laser blast that is able to hurt Viltrumites, which is something that would be helpful for her to be able to utilize beyond that one moment. But I don't think that becomes a regular part of her repertoire. I don't think she's just constantly shooting out beams that are powerful enough to kill Viltrumites. Yeah, and then we obviously get the insane head smashing scene. Yeah, again, speaking of disturbing stuff, there are like certain frames of Mark's face where it's like you can feel where like you see him like gritting his teeth. That is like terrifying. Like there's like certain frames where his face is like full of blood and his eyes are like crazy. Really good stuff. Oh, actually, I would very much like to give a shout out to Eric Bauza for not being Ezra Miller. Kind of expected, but I thought to check in this episode. I was like, oh yeah, who is voicing D.A. Sinclair? Because it's definitely not Ezra Miller. Great stuff, you know. Great. He did a great job. Very emotional scene where Debbie blames herself for having sex with Omni-Man and then birthing him into this miserable existence, which consists of him getting beaten almost to death consistently. But yeah, really good scene. Debbie, girl, you don't got nothing to be ashamed of. Anybody would have fallen for that hunk of man known as Nolan. You know what I mean? Rex's funeral, very sad stuff. A robot giving the eulogy or whatever. I like the touch where touch of him hugging Monster Girl, like their relationship is becoming closer and tighter, which is good. I guess I won't spoil where that goes. Then we start getting hints of what's to come. So the squid things are back. I don't remember future storylines with the squid things, but they're back. They're going to cause more chaos. Battle Beast, we learn that he won his fight with that other Viltrumite. So he's still around doing stuff. Another actually very interesting thing, right, where it's not like every time they kill a Viltrumite, it's going to be like very impactful, you know, now that we know that there's only 50 out there. It's like, it means a lot that Battle Beast killed that Viltrumite. The fact that I think they killed... How many did they kill at the Bug World? I think like 2 of them, right? Did the black guy that broke Nolan's back, did he die after doing that? I'm not sure. Angstrom Levy's also back because he just refuses to die. Again, I also don't remember what Angstrom Levy does in the future, so that'll be a surprise. I do remember this, though. Cecil being an actual dumbass. God, I remember reading this and this pissing me the fuck off. That he did this. What an idiot. But this isn't even a spoiler, right? Because I don't even remember like exactly what happens here. Because we'll get into a thing momentarily, but it's like, Cecil, what is your problem? Like, you could just... Ugh. Okay. Like even if you learn their plans, let's say you learn their plans, it doesn't change what has to happen. What has to happen is Mark needs to get stronger. That's it. Like that is the only plan that you can possibly enact. So I don't know. Cecil, I normally look at Cecil's actions and go, man, this might be morally ambiguous, but it's a really smart thing for him to do. This is just stupid. We also get the moment where Mark is talking to his baby brother and openly vowing to kill people. So that can't lead to anywhere bad. Surely not. And then yeah, we get the final thing, which is demon guy, demon detective, Damien Darkblood, I think was his name. I don't remember. I don't remember, when did he get the suit? Like, why does he have this white, almost Viltrumite suit? This is the same character, right? Damien Darkblood from season 1. But yeah, he's talking to I don't know if it's literally Satan, but he's talking about how he's found somebody for Satan to like possess. I think that they're talking about Conquest, probably. But again, I also don't remember. I genuinely don't remember what happens in the comic books. If Conquest just escapes as himself, or if Satan helps him escape, or whatever is going on in that post credit scene. But it's also like an interesting post credit scene because it kind of reveals that I guess hell is like on Earth. I don't think that the Bible, or I don't think that there's any religion that like establishes where hell or heaven is, but I guess in this universe, hell is like is like near the center of the Earth or something like that. Very interesting stuff. So we'll see if that even gets it. We'll see if any of this even gets addressed in the next season, or if they do what they did in season 1, where they teased a bunch of stuff that didn't get payoff until season 3. Because Invincible do be doing that sometimes. But yeah, either way, great finale, great season. Really like it. Check it out. Goodbye.